The Cleveland Browns are punting on this year. They have traded Amari Cooper to the Buffalo Bills. My instant reaction to this is, and my face may not reflect it, but when I'm feeling inside, good. Good. Good for the Browns, good for the Bills, good for Amari Cooper. This is the Michael Scott win, 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 right? The Browns get a valuable draft pick for Amari Cooper. The Bills get a number one wide receiver for Josh Allen. And I have no doubt that Amari Cooper is going to put up 900 yards and 6 touchdowns in Josh Allen's offense and completely turn his season around after a horrendous start. But this is overall, I think, a good deal for the Browns. They get a third-round draft pick, essentially, with some day 3 pick swaps going on as well, for a player who was not providing for them, not productive at all, leads the NFL in drops, and for a team that is 1-5, they are accepting that they are not going to make the playoffs in 2024. So do what you can to set yourself up for success in 2025, and you are better off with a third-round draft pick long-term than having no third-round draft pick from the Bills and Amari Cooper just wasting the final year of his contract away in Cleveland. So, like I said, initial reaction to this trade, good for the Browns. I'm happy that they have come to their senses, and I didn't think it would happen this quickly. I thought Amari Cooper would get traded, but not 3 weeks before the NFL trade deadline. But good for the Browns for realizing, we can kind of pack it up on this year, and if we do turn it around, it's not going to be because of Amari Cooper. He has unfortunately had one good game with the Giants, and outside of that, you could somewhat say he cost them a win or two. Like the Raiders, you can definitely point to. But Cooper this year has been extremely underwhelming, disappointing, and I did not see it coming, and I still don't understand how it happened. The guy simply fell off a cliff, and I know that he says it had nothing to do with the trade rumors with Brandon Ayuk, but if all of a sudden he becomes the Amari Cooper we've seen over the last 2 years in Buffalo, I'm going to have a tough time not believing that. So, Cooper, I do appreciate your service in Cleveland because it was probably the best wide receiver play we've ever seen from a Browns receiver. I know there was the 2013 Josh Gordon year, but man, Cooper, the only player in Browns history to put up back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, and he didn't just barely get it, like 1,160 yards, 1,250 yards. And he did it, by the way, with how many different starting quarterbacks? 6 starting different quarterbacks in that time frame right there, something like that. So, Cooper, there's no bitterness or no ill will for me. I'm going to miss wearing your jersey, though. That's for sure. Best of luck in Buffalo, but I think this is a good move for all parties here. I've got more to share on this trade, by the way, more reaction to get to, but I also think this is a precursor for what is to come, and that is more trades. Any Browns player over the age of 30 should have a bag packed because the Browns are in sell mode. If they're doing it 3 weeks before the deadline, other teams are going to start calling Berea and see what they can get. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. That way, as more news and trades come in, you are one of the first to know because we were the first to get live here and react to this trade. Now, with this trade, the Browns have added a third-round draft pick from the Buffalo Bills. They have a first, a second, and so on and so forth. So, handful of draft picks coming over from Buffalo. One draft pick coming over from Buffalo this year, but overall, a good stockpile of picks for 2025, which is very much needed for the Browns because they are going to be needing to turn it around quickly if Andrew Berry wants any chance of saving his job. Either you can expect a full fire sale. Now, there are a couple of guys that I'm going to say right now are off limits. Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, and Nick Chubb. I know everyone wants to trade Deshaun Watson. That's obviously not going to happen. No team, not even the CFL would call. I don't think the CFL would call. So, those 3 guys are off limits, and I don't think I need to explain why. But Garrett, he is in the prime of his career. He is the best player in franchise history. You don't trade that away. It is just a move you cannot make as a GM. Denzel Ward in a similar spot where he is in the prime of his career, playing some of the best football of his career. I don't think you want to trade away a guy at a very valuable position playing some of the best football of his career, like I said. And then Nick Chubb is just too important to the fabric of this franchise. So, who could be moved? Zadarius Smith, you are a Lion. Shelby Harris, I think you might be a Bear. Maurice Hurst, I think you're going to stay with the Browns. Jack Conklin and Jed Wills, one of them might get moved. I doubt both of them get moved. But these two will likely have to be right at the NFL trade deadline because teams want to see if they can stay healthy over the next few weeks, as both guys are now back from their offseason knee or their knee surgeries and injuries from last year. But I'd almost put the house on Zadarius Smith will get traded, and the Detroit Lions make way too much sense with Aiden Hutchinson going down for them. So Smith a Lion. Harris, I think he's going to get moved. He's 34 years old. You've got Mike Hall back from his suspension. You got to start playing the young guy, see if you have anything there for the future. So these two, I'd put a high probability to get moved. Some guys not on this list that I could have added. David Njoku, I don't think he's going to get traded away, but I guess it's got a more than 0% chance of happening. Maybe Elijah Moore as well, but that's two receivers going out the door. I'm not quite sure if the Browns are willing to do that. But it would open up some more opportunities for Jamari Thrash and Cedric Tillman. So those are two guys that I guess could be lumped in as well. Joel Bitonio, maybe, but similar to Nick Chubb, he's just so important to this franchise. I don't know if they would do that. Kind of like how Joe Thomas was here for his entire career, although he once almost got traded to the Broncos in 2015. So who knows? I've got more reaction and analysis to get to on this deal in just a moment here, but a quick shout out to our sponsor today, which is Game Time. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. One thing I really like about Game Time is their all-in pricing option. Toggling this feature shows the total upfront cost with no surprise fees at checkout. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. So just revisiting the Cooper trade here and kind of our last thoughts on Cooper as a Cleveland Browns wide receiver. I think he's a decent argument for best receiver in franchise history. The longevity element of it is going to really dampen his chances of that, but single season or single game receiving record and only player to have back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, one could make a decent argument for that. But honestly, though, like I said at the beginning, I am happy the Browns have accepted that this season is over, and getting a third-round pick for Cooper is honestly a little bit more than what I thought you would get. He only had about a $1.2 million base salary. So from here on out, whenever we're talking trades or whenever you see anyone else talking about trades, the only number you need to look at is their base salary. Don't look at their cap hit. It's irrelevant. Look at the base salary, take that number, go into your phone calculator, and divide it by 18. That is the number of game checks they get every single week. And if we have 10 weeks left, 11 weeks left, 12 weeks left, take that number you divide by 18 and multiply it by the remaining weeks of the schedule, and that's how much a new team would be picking up. So, going back to this Amari Cooper trade, how would you grade it? A, B, C, D, or F? I give it a B+. The only reason I'm not giving it an A is because it just represents sadness to me, and that is this season is over. It's over in the middle of October. You just don't want to get to the stage so quickly, and the Browns did, and it's just so soul-crushing because this was supposed to be the year it really all came together, and instead we come out of this season having so many questions, having no idea if the Browns have a good GM, a good head coach, what they're going to do at quarterback. There are so many questions that have to be answered, and I'm not even sure if they've got the guy there to answer those questions because the only person that's not going anywhere is Jimmy Haslam. And I'll give him credit. He spends money, and I do like that about ownership, but he has not done a great job of picking the right people. And so it's fair to say that heads may roll after this year. So on one hand, it's more draft capital for Andrew Berry. On the other hand, he has not done a very good job drafting. Like, just think about the third-round draft picks he made. Cedric Tillman, not very good so far. Cedric Tillman, David Bell, Martin Emerson was good, Jordan Elliott. there's just not a good run of third-round picks under Andrew Berry, and I'm not sure if he is the guy that you want orchestrating and engineering a retool, a reset, whatever you want to call it, simply because his strength has never been in the draft. Now, in slight defense of him, he hasn't had many first or second round draft picks to work with. So we're going to see a little bit of, Zach Zinter I can toss in there as well for third round pick. We're going to see a new side of Barry that we really haven't seen much of. But his 2 first round picks, like Jed Wills and Greg Newsome, are not started. Well, they're not Pro Bowl guys. And first round picks hopefully should be Pro Bowl guys. That's kind of the expectation, especially for a 10th overall pick. Both of them are, Greg Newsome is a starting caliber corner. Jed Wills, if he was not the 10th overall pick, would not have started this long, but the Browns continue to give him a super long leash. But both those picks have been flops. So there is a little bit of concern, and probably a little bit more than the word little, inside of me of, is Barry the right guy to run this show right now? Because this is a draft-oriented team, and that has not been his strong suit. So with all this being said, who should the Browns trade next? Give me a name in the comment section below. Greg Newsome is also someone that I could have mentioned earlier. The Browns really value corners, so it would take a little bit to move on from Newsome, but there have always been some level of trade rumors surrounding Greg, so definitely keep him in mind. I'm going to go with Zadarius Smith. He's 32 years old. He is not going to be here long term, and if the Lions want to get a replacement for Hutchinson, Smith could do a nice job of filling in. It's going to be impossible to replace Hutch, but this can give him at least a step in the right direction. So I'll go with Zadarius Smith to the Detroit Lions. Amari Cooper traded to the Buffalo Bills for a third-round draft pick and a day 3 pick swap. I do appreciate Coop for giving Browns fans plenty of great memories, and I'm going to miss wearing his jersey on Sunday, but this was, I think, the right and the correct move for the Browns to get a third-round pick and move on from a player that has not been a contributor to this team this year and help set you up for success in 2025 and beyond, hopefully, if you make something of that third-round pick.